our next panel, which is the state of IT. So, very well understood that the governance has moved on to the next level. So how are the states trying to improve and strengthen the governance by using next gen technologies? That's the biggest question that we have in front of us, and we are keeping pace with that. Some phenomenal results have been achieved by various state departments, governments, by adopting advanced technology tools such as 5G, drones for collecting data, other services like medical and logistics, so on and so forth. I've had the experience of even witnessing the property mapping to the household level at many of the states, which has actually multiplied the recovery as well as the revenue for many of such cities. So all of us have realized there's a huge potential, and now we have reached a stage wherein we are leveraging it, whether it is the improvement in citizen services or real-time governance to real-time governance redressal, connected and integrated government. We have come a long way, and there are continuing to be a few challenges, which is what we are grappling with, but we are finding a way out sooner and better than before. So India right now, when we say that poised to become not only a $5 trillion economy, but also $1 trillion digital economy by 2025. But for that matter, the pace of digitalization not only is to continue, it even has to accelerate. And the indications are that we are doing quite good on that front. So in this panel, we are looking at three things. What is the state of digitalization? What are the residual challenges that need to be overcome? And what is the Vision 2025? And for this discussion, we are joined by Mr. Vidyasagar Reddy, who is the Chief Executive Officer, Real-Time Governance Society, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Sohan Nautiyal, who is Head SEMT, Government of Odisha, Mr. Kumar Vineet, Special Secretary, Government of IT and Electronics, Government of Uttar Pradesh, and Managing Director, UPDESCO, which is Uttar Pradesh Development Systems Corporation. Excuse me. And Mr. Sanjay Kumar Das, who is Joint Secretary, Department of IT, Government of West Bengal. Let me have the pleasure of inviting our first panelist. The structure of the panel discussion is that we have 5 to 7 minutes to make an opening statement, followed by which we get into a discussion, and there would be a Q&A at the end. So let me introduce him as an IT man. He was the IT advisor to the state government. He's an MBA from Georgia State University and civil engineering from Texas. He brings with him over 25 years of experience in engineering, technology, and information society. He's not a government person. He is a private sector domain specialist helping the government, and real-time governance society is being driven by him. So he has brought all his experience accumulated over nearly 2.5 decades to create an engine which is doing very well today, supposedly in the state. So Mr. Reddy, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Dhanjal. Appreciate the introduction. Hello and good morning to my fellow panelists and the listeners. As you mentioned, the state of IT is doing extremely well in India, and world over they recognize India as being one at the forefront of IT. And within IT, within India, there are several states that seem to be doing quite well. And then several domains that have been at the forefront of what we have seen over the last couple of years. Continuing from your previous discussion, necessity is the mother of invention. Usually there is a lot of resistance, inertia. We don't want to change the status quo, but sometimes externalities, what's called the black swan event, right? Something like that forces our hands and makes us adapt things faster than we would otherwise have done. This is one of those things, and glad to see across the country, all the states embracing IT as a tool. That's what it is, right? Still people have to do the decision making and drive the policy and the execution, but leverage technology as a tool to help them out, carry the jobs more effectively, more efficiently, and better, faster, and all those things. So from our side, just a couple of points. Big data and analytics is what I would focus on among the newer technologies that we are leveraging to carry out our responsibilities. Briefly speaking, there are about 4 areas where the government of AP is focusing on: citizen services, digital transformation, and making sure that the citizen get their services without having to do the running around. And then benefit schemes. There are several welfare and other benefits. We want to make sure that the intended beneficiaries receive the benefits without undue hardships on their part. Then the proof that these programs are working effectively is not to have many grievances. So Spandana is our flagship program for grievance redressal. And that's what RTGS oversees, among other things. Then job growth. So we want to leverage IT technology for growing jobs within the state and improving the economy of the state, as well as the condition of the population in general. So on the local governance front, Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Y.S. Jaganmohan Reddy, had instituted this Village and Ward Secretariat organization, establishing over 15,000 village and ward secretariats across the state, taking local governance to the doorstep of the citizen. Citizens can avail of over 540 services through the digital transformation program from these places. So no more having to go to mandal offices or district offices and running around the government offices and waiting for their services. They can simply go to their own village secretariat and get their task done. And there's also a volunteer institution where if people cannot, for some reason, go to their own village secretariat, they can have their volunteers come to their own house and take care of their needs. Then benefit schemes, as I've mentioned earlier, there are over 25 different types of benefit schemes targeting several demographics narrowly as well as broadly for various reasons and objectives. So these things, the programs need to identify who the eligible beneficiaries are, provide the validation by checking the eligibility criteria, which means looking at government databases, leveraging the information we have about them, their property, their incomes, and their various socio-economic status. Then coming up with the list of beneficiaries, which is, there's a step of social audit there, making sure that the fellow citizens have a say in input on the list of beneficiaries. Once that's done, the direct benefit scheme transfer the benefit to their bank account, Aadhaar based. So all these things are leveraging technology. There's no depending on someone's mercy, so to say. A government officer has to kindly look at this thing and agree or disagree or anything like that. So both these schemes are extremely complex, but they're functioning smoothly by leveraging technology. Now, the Spandana Grievance Redressal Program that I mentioned, this is the brainchild of our Honorable CM that he instituted in 2019. Usually Spandana, the grievance program used to require citizens to go to their district collector's offices, I think Monday or so, every week or every month, and submit their grievances in writing, which would be reviewed and action taken, but the citizen would not have any insight into what the status was. So what we have done is, there's a call center, toll-free number, and there's also a Spandana app. So people can call in, people can go to their, again, village and ward secretariats and submit their grievance if necessary, or they can use the Spandana app, leveraging the technology, and submit their grievances. We have looked at that based on the type of the grievance, the department, the subject, and the sub-subject, the grievance is categorized and it's routed to the proper government functionary. Typically, we call that the last mile functionary. So the grievance redressal is starting where a government officer can actually make a positive change. And then there's workflow depending on the complexity of the issue, and approvals required or review required as needed. So all these things happen through technology, and the grievance status is monitored and appropriate feedback is provided to the citizen based on the status of the grievance. One other thing is, There are SLAs for many of these categories, obviously not for everything because of several constraints. And dashboards are provided at all levels, at the last mile functionary level, all the way to the state government at the chief minister's office level. So the grievances can be monitored and tracked for performance. And dashboards are customized at each level, whether it's district or mandal or village level or at the state level, or based on the departments. So every officer, every minister or MLAs, they have the ability to look at the grievances that pertain to their area and see what is happening and provide input and also encourage grievance redressal. Two other points here is there is a survey of all the citizens whose grievances were not redressed in a positive way. For example, if I go and claim that I didn't receive such and such benefit, and if the grievance redressal is to give me the benefit, great. A sample of such positive redressals are surveyed just to make sure the performance is fine and if there's any room for improvement. But all of the negative redressals, if my grievance is not redressed, if I did not get the benefit, but given an explanation, you don't qualify because of these reasons, or you did not get something for these reasons, that's called negative redressal. Every one of those negative redressals receive a call from my call center to get more information, whether the citizen was satisfied with the explanation or not. And then the citizens have the ability to automatically reopen the grievances that are closed. So this guards against if a government officer is looking at something and says, yeah, it's closed. So from the dashboard monitoring perspective, it's closed, so we assume it's done. But the citizen can reopen the grievance if he's not happy. And a reopened grievance will go to the reporting manager of the officer who closed it. So a person who incorrectly closed it will not again get to see it and close it again. It's going to his boss now. So these are some of the initiatives that we have taken up. And to help us through this thing, some of these things for tracking large data, for providing analytics, various technologies are utilized. Obviously, big data is has been a big thing in technology world across the board. Any of these social media giants that you see, or any of the tech giants you see, they're all leveraging big data. Now, people are actually their data, so they know what to do with that. We are trying to do something along those lines, not necessarily for marketing purposes, but to provide governance and citizen services perspective. Some of these other initiatives, as you mentioned, drones are being leveraged. We are doing a comprehensive land survey, I think after 100 years or so within the state, using Survey of India as well as state government revenue departments. So what are we going to do with that? Again, big data will have to come in and help us process the data. So what the governments are doing and will continue to do is use big data to process large amounts of information we have. What's the goal? We want to get actionable intelligence, actionable insights from the data, right? So we understand we have huge quantities of data, and then pretty spreadsheets and dashboards will help us with visualization of what is happening. But after that, the next step is, this is what we see is happening. Now I want to know what is an actionable insight for me. So what does that mean? What can I do to improve the performance of the state, or to improve the situation of the citizens of the state? So this is where I think it's going. And there are other considerations. Privacy, obviously, our country as such does not have a comprehensive GDPR like privacy laws, but I think central government is working on that. MITI as well as Supreme Court look at these situations and on a case-by-case basis improve things. So we are moving in the right direction. But from our side, more and more data are available to governments, and we are trying to leverage the data not only to provide citizen services, redress grievances, but also to get actionable insights from the data to help us with the governance of the state itself. I'll pause here, and if there's anything else, we'll pick up during the QA session, I suppose. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Very, very interesting. So we'll come back to you, as you rightly said. And in the meanwhile, I move on to invite our next speaker, who is a data scientist, a blockchain certified expert and has expertise in IT with proven effective leadership skills by leading, managing, and successfully executing projects with high standards. Mr. Sohan Nautiyal, who is head of SEMT, Government of Odisha, has been leading AI-based dashboards and aiming to create an integrated information infrastructure called Odisha One Portal. Mr. Nautiyal.
Thank you, Dr. Gurusharan. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for giving this opportunity to be part of this 75th SKOCH Summit panel discussion on focus on the ITs. So currently, I'm with the Government of Odisha with the NIT, and there are various initiatives done at Odisha with perspective of emerging technology as well. And now going in detail, like what are the things, key project, IT projects done at Odisha. Okay. So NIT government has focused on order of enhancement, speed, convincing, and the transparency in and the government to citizen services and provide best class of technology as part of 5T charter mandated from our Honorable Chief Minister Shri Naveen Patnaik. Okay, like transparency, technology, teamwork, and time-bound and transformation. So focusing on the technology part, right? Because ultimately, this has definitely helped in during the COVID outbreak as well. And during this time, we have seen that we were able to recently, if you see the progress in COVID perspective, citizens are able to see the test result of the COVID, which they have undergone. And apart from they can register for the vaccination as well, and see the status of the vaccination and get the certificate as well. Okay. Having said that, for all these things, important thing is the infrastructure. To build the infrastructure across in Odisha. So in that perspective, what exactly, as mentioned, like what are the different technology which we are using? So Gartak internet, in that definitely we have used drone for seeing to what extent the optical fiber has to be laid down. Okay, so and connecting. So ultimately, that will help in planning and executing and laying down the optical fiber. And apart from that, the cloud computing. Basically, we have all the 118 applications which are deployed or hosted on the cloud. Okay, and during pandemic, people were able to deploy the application remotely as well, and when permission is given to them for short span of time so that they can host the application. That's the other thing. And the other thing, infrastructure perspective, also we are ensuring that we have a very good cybersecurity operation center where, because now we are completely moving into digital world where we have seen that there are a lot of attacks happening. So considering those things, we have almost in the process of setting up the SOC center, okay, at Odisha State. Application perspective, yes, we have developed a very good COVID-19 dashboard, which will be enhanced for the other initiatives, scheme based as well as for other scheme as well as. So AI technique was used to ensure that we have the proper predictive analytics about all the things which has been taken care. Okay. So apart from that, there are ultimately we have at the state we have come out with a single window platform where citizen can use single window. Any unified solution where all the services can be availed. So around more than some 500 services are integrated, and so that citizen can avail those services. As we know that no, there are people who are at the remote places, they cannot access the internet themselves. So in that case, we have come out with the Mo Seva Kendra is established, set up at Odisha, and encouraging entrepreneurs to set up the Kendra at yearly and yearlies, so that they can walk, citizen can walk down and avail the government services from the Mo Seva Kendra with minimum pay. So that's the another key initiatives have done during this time. And apart from that, at Odisha State, senior government officers also takes the feedback directly interacting with the citizen as part of the Mo Sarkar, so that whether the services provided, they are happy with that, or that kind of feedback they take one-to-one. So that's another key thing. And apart from that, because of this pandemic, people are working, and even students wants to avail the digital facility, for example, for specifically the smart classes. So as part of this, various initiatives has been taken, and the smart classes in an integrated ICT technology based learning to provide the students with a better classroom experience. A smart class will enhance the student teacher interaction and will give the student a better understanding of the concept as well. So that's another key initiative as part of the technology which has been done. Having said that, as I told, what are the key emerging technologies which we have as part of Odisha State? We have no doubt that cloud computing technology, where we have used around more than 180 government services application hosted there, so that this can be used. No need of the different department to have their own servers and all. So, and it is cloud based, so that a citizen can access from single portal all the services. Apart from that, one of the key thing, which is blockchain technology, that's the other thing which is very important as part of the secured way of having the transactions or any information. Or so in that perspective, we have come out with, we have developed at the state paddy procurement automation system to ensure that the price which is paid, that is blocked, okay, as part of the technology. So technology intervention, that's how we had, and definitely there is another Bhubaneswar land use technology system, BLUSH, for monitoring change in the government lands using the high resolution satellite. So we have used there as well the AI technique. And apart from that, e-privilege, where visitors coming to the secretariat, so through AI technique or facial recognition, and whether the person is authorized to enter into the system or has the valid pass. So that's how the technology here also we have used the other thing. And having said that, so these are the key initiative, and I will pause right now, and later I can have more things in discussion. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for taking us through the journey of various technology-led implementations in the state. And I'm sure as we move forward, there will be much more to talk about. Yes, we'll come back to you. And now I move on to invite the person who has incessantly worked on 1076, which is the UP Chief Minister Helpline. This is an integrated grievance redressal system, and that has been successfully implemented under the guidance of Mr. Kumar Vineet, who is Special Secretary, Department of IT and Electronics, Uttar Pradesh, and the MD of UP DESCO. Also guided several projects, including e-tendering, and created an ecosystem for startups in the state, and worked extensively on electronics manufacturing policy in this. So let's move on to understand as to what has been the achievements of the state, the journey of digitalization, and what's the vision 2025. Mr. Visu.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Krishnan, and it is indeed an honor to be here on this platform. Well, good governance has been the hallmark of the present government's development agenda. With the rapid advancing technology, the concept of smart and connected governance have crept into our daily lexicon. However, in this catchy phrases and jargons, the underlying message is that the services to the common citizen has to be very flawless. I have always been reiterating it again and again that our purpose is to demystify and make the range of good governance enabled and easily available and accessible to the citizen so that it can be leveraged by the citizen globally as well as personally as well as locally. So the effort of this in this direction has been that we have to ensure that transform the public service delivery model, which can be given with dignity, number one, with ease, transparency, and of course with effective grievance redressal. So this mechanism of grievance redressal is very important because every citizen needs to have a good mechanism of delivery model plus a mechanism where they can always put up their grievance redressal. So this grievance redressal has to be technology agnostic. That means it can be approached by telephone, by mail, by any of the app or whatever the means of process, or just an application at a suitable level, be it the local level of the collector or highest level at the Honorable Chief Minister. So this diffusion of different ways of and means of delivering the services, as well as coming up with a good solution to each and every solution, each and every services, that has been the main aim behind which we have been working on. And if I continue on this same platform, then of course the advanced analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain technology. If I take say blockchain technology, we have tried to implement it into the revenue department, where every land which is traveling into 9 or 10 places where there can be a case in a local revenue court, it can be at the commissioner office, it can be in the Khatani, it can be in the Khasrat, different levels and at different places. So if blockchain can be developed to extract any information and put up cleanly, that is what we are trying to develop in the revenue recording keeping. Then artificial intelligence, if I say, or IoT, we have just developed a mining concept where we have developed different levels of mining platforms where any vehicle that goes through it, we can collect the information and connect it to the Sarthi model and get the information extracted so that there is seamless and flawless what should I say, mechanism to capture the revenue, one part, and a clear message to the citizen as well that yes, we are being watched unless and until we need to be checked upon. So this initiative of a different level, a different interface of technology is there, and we are trying to use it. Next is the direct benefit schemes. We have really excelled in that. The process of open government data platform, investment, even investment in cyber systems is also being taken care of because things have definitely grown up in a different, very, very complex stage. So now coming to the basic COVID-19 management system, if I can share with you, because in this scenario, we needed a platform, we needed it was very, very subtle. It was very subtle because all of a sudden it crept in. So we needed a platform which could provide a link between citizen and government with ease, without coming out of the house, without going to any other place or accessing to any other means of mechanism. So a simple telephone call or simple mobile could connect to the government. Any citizen at any place could easily connect to the government for a variety of services. It can be awareness, health, lockdown issues, migration crisis, COVID patient management, oxygen, bed, anything that could easily be integrated into this concept. And behind this one platform of CM Helpline, we had a multiple management system of health, of migration, of district management system, of grievance redressal, of citizen response team at every level, be it the district collector, be it the state government, be it the commissionary level, at every level and at every department as well. So The forms and the scripts of capturing information, taking feedback, it was such designed and developed that we could take on board each and every concerned stakeholder. Once it was registered, we could get into the integrated grievance redressal system. It was reflected at different levels where it could immediately be cashed up. So response could be 1 day, could be 1 week, could be 1 hour also. And in cases where responses were like getting an oxygen was limited to 1 hour or 2 hour, immediate action and response mechanism at the district level was also developed and integrated with the same system. So this is how a common linkage of citizen and government was tried to develop, and I must say it has been, if not impeccable, then definitely it has been really good, and we have got some very good results on that. And I must not, one can never be satisfied with the results anytime, but yes, it was commendable indeed on part of the CM helpline to take this project. The initiatives that were taken was we could now, because the platform was there and we could raise the level, so we raised the awareness campaign as well about the government initiatives. We had that feedback, we had the data, so we could reach to the level of the ground level of the villages where we could just reach with our policies and initiatives. Then health management. Apart from the COVID, there were so many health management initiatives that were being taken up. So we could reach, we could tell the citizen and get a feedback what is our mechanism doing actually at the ground level and what is actually required at the ground level. So that was really very nice concept that has given this opportunity. This COVID has given us that opportunity, and we have already leveraged on it, and we are using it continuously now. So management of migrant movement was, of course, there was one major issue that yes, it was, one can never, as I said, one can never say that yes, we have done wonders, but yes, we have tried to establish a connect between government and citizen. That is what I would like to say. To conclude, the technology part in Uttar Pradesh has been trying to make a pathway so that we can give our citizen-centric services at ease with the people. Coming with the policy part, we have 3 policies which are really doing very well. One is the startup policy. In startup policy, as of late, I would just like to mention one of the startups of making dhoop batti out of flower petals. IT Kanpur incubation of IT Kanpur has done it. It has come out wonderfully. The concept was there for long, but to commercialize it was a good idea. So that startup has come up beautifully, and similarly there are more than 1,000 startups which are lined up, and at least 100 startups are there which are coming up with such good ideas where investment can also be attracted. Second is our policy of manufacturing policy. We had envisaged this manufacturing policy in 2017 for 5 years, but the policy was so, what should I say, good, or its implementation was good, that we could achieve the target that we had proposed in 2019 itself. So we revamped our policy again, and now we have another policy of manufacturing policy which is going up to 2027, and in that policy we are targeting another 30,000 crores of investment. We are targeting that, and hopefully we are going to get good investment. We have got 2 major hubs, one in Noida, second in Lucknow, which is coming up beautifully. Third is our data center policy. We are perhaps the second in India that have come up with our data center policy, and we have already lined up with more than 14 projects. That letter of interest we have already have, and yes, at places like Noida, at places like Lucknow, and not just that Lucknow and Noida, there are some small data center initiatives coming at different level as well, where in different cities at different hubs where the commissionary levels at 16 or 17 places, people are interested to develop data centers at those places because they see an opportunity over there. So that is really very interesting, and when this idea came to us also and the proposal came to us also, we were also very happy that yes, the network of Government of India of laying the fiber optics, coming up along with the knowledge network and jamming up with the startup process, and of course our policy initiatives, it has cumulatively combined into such a way that yes, in coming decade or so, Uttar Pradesh is going to be a revamped and a new state in terms of digital platforms and digital initiatives. Thank you.
Excellent. Number of initiatives that have been taken and kind of effort that has gone into it have been a Herculean task, because trying to streamline from across these segments, and whether it is to do with the grievance redressal system, which we say it's an easy thing to do, but it's very, very difficult to actually respond positively and closing those grievances, because people also know that they now have an opportunity where they can be heard. So what happens is that they become demanding, and that in fact is a very good indication that in an environment like this, when you're a demanding citizen, then that much responsive it makes you. And of course, to encourage manufacturing and so many other things, which is what being done in the state. Excellent work. So my congratulations to you. So I'll come back to you in case there are any questions. And let me at this moment invite our next speaker, Mr. Sanjay Kumar Das, who is Joint Secretary in Department of IT, Government of West Bengal. Apart from many things that he has done, he has created a platform called Karmo Bhumi, which is a skill registry for IT and ITS talent in West Bengal. I mean, the Kolkata pretty early on came to be known as the ITS hub, and but not for very long. Continues to lead in many ways, but yes, a lot that needs to be done. So with this, more than 60,000 youth registered and nearly 1/3 got employed. So other areas of interest from him include cybersecurity, ensuring safety, and ensuring the critical infrastructure of the state, and the data privacy. So with this, I invite Mr. Das.
Thank you, Dr. Gurusaran. I'm really obliged and humbled to be a part of this panel. First of all, I have been, there is a privilege and there is a challenge in speaking at the last. The privilege is you need not say those things which have already been said. So your task is cut. The challenge is you have nothing to say because everybody has done everything. So I would just like to start by saying that, what government of West Bengal has done or has not done, what government of West Bengal could have done over the years, how early it actually jumped into the bandwagon of IT and led the country in many ways. And whether it is still there or not, only time can tell, but SKOCH has actually acknowledged the success of West Bengal, and it bestowed upon our chief minister the SKOCH chief ministership, last year. So I hope that SKOCH acknowledge that we are coming up. So emerging technology is just like a moving train. So we all board from the rear, and using the vestibule we go towards the engine. So whether somebody is at the best, everybody can catch up with him because all these bogies are connected. Mm-hmm. So the moving train we have all boarded, whether it is Uttar Pradesh, with is Tamil Nadu, with the Punjab or Mizoram, every state has boarded, and every state is doing wonderfully. The beauty of India is in its versatility. And when I actually find out what everybody else is doing, because I'm a voracious reader, I read whatever I lay my hands on, and I come to know that yes, there is nothing new to create. Just find out who has done this, try to implement this in the state and take the best practices from them and find out the failures that they have faced and try to work upon that. So there is no need to actually recreate the wheel every time. So in West Bengal, our Honorable Chief Minister has actually, guided us into this. Innovation is being done by all, and it is a collaborative effort. We are not behind IPR per se. We are actually there for servicing the people. So if I just say, in 17 months, we have witnessed, more than 73 lakh grievances. In 17 months, the e-Samadhan has witnessed more than 73 lakh grievances. And the turnaround time is less than 2.7 days. And the success of resolving these grievances is more than 73%. So this is just one of the statistics. There are n number of statistics I can go on churning out, as each and every colleague of mine before me has been telling. I hope you all know about Duare Sarkar, which has become pretty famous before the last election. Till date, we have actually seen footfall of more than 3.5 crore and in nearly 90,000 actual camps that have taken place. In lakhs and lakhs of solutions, people-centric solutions have been handed over directly from those camps. There are camps like Duare Sarkar, that means the Sarkar is going to the doorstep. Paray Samadhan, that means Sarkar is actually resolving the issue going into your mohalla. Then Duare Tran, after this yash that has ravaged us, this has been taken up. And the numbers are fabulous. They are already with you, because most of our departments have already submitted those numbers. I do not want to put these numbers and jumbled everybody. So there are 18 beautifully structured public service delivery which are doing wonders. And they right now are being actually handed over to the people through a new scheme that is called, this Bangla Sahayata Kendra. So Bangla Sahayata Kendra is another effort which is more than what we have seen in CSC, the Common Service Center. So they are not only giving you the solution, they are also guiding you as to how those solutions can be achieved or received or consumed or assimilated, utilized, and come back with the feedback. And coming back to Karma Bhumi that you have just spoken about. So Karma Bhumi actually started with this idea that when after retrenchment all those people were coming back, we started finding out how many of them belong to ITS sector. And then when we actually collected those data, we understood that our local industry could benefit out of that. So it created the whole notion, whole journey, and we actually created this solution within the department itself. At that point of time, suddenly Government of India banned those foreign apps. So we came up with the self-scan, which has been feted by you too. So that is another app, all our students and teachers and government employees are, using. And all these things, if you talk about Karma Bhumi, the beauty of Karma Bhumi is it is PII free. You are free to hack. I'm actually giving our data to you. You please hack, because it is completely PII free. You cannot get any PII out of this. Sir, I should tell everybody who is over 656 persons are listening to me that PII can only be sold and bought. So if this is a repository and if an application is put into this and it is churning out data, so there are two types of data. One is live data and one is dead data. So the live data is PII data, and the dead data like CDSL has lost 40 million data. Those are instantaneous dead data. Those have no value. And that's why CDSL is saying, is not saying anything. Anybody can challenge me and I can go on actually, reading out the RCA, the root cause analysis, and try to, support or corroborate what I have just spoken about CDSL. I'm not supporting CDSL, but I'm telling you the data which is a dead data cannot be sold or bought. Yes, it is a loss of face, definitely, but not more than that. So we actually cut about those live data which are attributable. The same thing has been done about self-scan. The self-scan does not collect any of your data. It is a device native application. So we have given you the application, you are the owner of the data, and there is no server, so you cannot do anything. It is not going through anything. You do not require any internet. So our 18 applications which are going on and 37 applications which are around this and 200 plus applications which are critical and placed in the state data center, we have actually graduated from tier 1, tier 2 to tier 3 data center. We are the only data center which is managed by the government alone and nobody else. Our Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, which has seen 4 national awards, during the last 1 year itself, and will be feted by you in the days to come. So those will be added to it. So we have not done anything, and it's a zero budget. So actually, the government is looking towards generating awareness from the government part and attracting professionals to give knowledge, so that collectively the populace can go into the realm of wisdom. And a wise populace can bring stability to a community. So, sir, I would not speak more, but I would just say what my senior, Shanta ma'am, then, Mr. Meena, once my district magistrate also. So they have, spoken about just before me in the earlier thing about the successes of the state. Sir, this is not a specific success. It's a hybrid thing. IT is all pervasive, and every department has been enabled under the leadership that what Mr. Meena has just told, that the leadership, the positivity of the leadership, which is witnessed across the country, everywhere it is seen, with the positivity of the leadership, everybody is embracing the, this technology advancement. And before I cap it all, I would just say that what, the beautiful thing Mr. Nautiyal has done with this, this blockchain initiative. 4 years back, we started this blockchain initiative in NKDA, the New Town Kolkata Development Authority, by actually, bringing out the death and birth certification on blockchain, and it is still continuing. Then we have actually gone into the land and other things, the records, all of the land records, the mutation records, everything is coming into the lacuna on the part of the government. People like us, public servants, we are very bad in promoting ourselves. So most of the people do not know actually what is happening. But since 2014 January, April, there is not a single cash, that has been transacted by the government of West Bengal. So you can understand the amount of e-governance. Between 11:30 and 2:30, more than 30,000 unique users actually access IFMS, the Integrated Fund Management System. Everything is online, nothing is physical. And to say everything that we are coming down to, these platforms are the place where we would actually request all of you to, come up with, I would request SKOCH to come up with a platform where we can share our successes and failures, so that the best practices can be actually replicated by all. Not only successes, the failures must be told, where we have failed. Each and every place, if we can share our failures, because they are the greatest teachers, and we can have a better and safe India in the coming days. Thank you so much.
Excellent work, because, I fully agree with you when you say that, the good work which is being done, the successes which are being experienced, we don't talk about it. We don't come out of the silos. And although we continue to do well, we have no time to share it with others. So platforms like this, give us an opportunity not only to understand from SKOCH as to, what all is happening towards good governance at the state level, but also to the states, when you interact with each other and find out, what have been your success and what could be the learnings from there. And we are candid enough to say all these things with full confidence that this is what I have not been able to do. So I would like to do this and understand as to how have you done it, and pick it up as a best practice from your side. I've in fact traveled across and have had an opportunity to meet up with a whole lot of people, whole lot of stakeholders. And the only thing that comes up each time is that there is, while we sit on such platforms, that the best practices, we realize that these are the ones that we have created, both based on innovation, as you said, as well as collaboration. So that remains still within the state. It doesn't go outside the state. So as a union of states, we also need to encourage it further. I remember my meeting with Mr. Vidyasagar started on a very low note, but ended on such a high note that this is the third discussion we are having. And, ultimately, when we share this, I'm sure coming from the domain, he would know, but when you said that 73 lakh grievances in 17 months on e-Samadhan with an average turnaround time of 2.7 days, I'm sure Mr. Vidyasagar would be thinking at this time that let me also say my numbers, and Mr. Vineet also would be feeling the same thing. So let me open it for next 5 minutes for your reactions to the debate and the discussion. So let me start first with Mr. Vineet.
Well, number is just an indicative. It is the qualitative part that has to be taken care of. Whether there is one person who is getting to us and he's satisfied to a certain extent, or there are 100% and 90 of them are dissatisfied. So 100 is not a matter, but one does definitely matter. So that is the idea, and that is the concept and the purpose. And if I would say on that part per se, then we have more than 90% satisfied customers. So when I say customers, that is a different word that I would like to say citizens. So out of the remaining that 10% who are not satisfied or not happy with the solution, at least 6 to 7% of them are who demand something. So demand can never be satiated at any place, at any level. But then if we have such a level of high level where people are actually agreeing to, yes, this is this thing, this is the issue I raised, this is the solution I got. It might not be the best one that I would have liked to have it, but yes, it is definitely palatable, acceptable. What Herbert Simon used to say, the art of muddling through. There is a problem, then I have just got over it. So that solution and that level of what should I say, satisfaction, or we also have on that part, that yes, handling such a big state and handling such a scale where 58 lakh complaints are there, and we handle it what should I say, really handling it on a good way. We phrase the question every day. We listen. Even I, as a special secretary and MD UP I also listen to many of the calls every day, on and off. My principal secretary, my secretary to chief minister, he also takes a call on listening, at least 10 to 15 calls a day, that how can we improve, or what actually is the citizen that is requiring. Or medical principal secretary comes in, chips in, okay, give me 10 calls, let me listen to what is the feedback of the citizen. So this is a two-way integration process, and ultimately we are developing a gold mine of information about my policy, information about my implementation process, information about what actually I want to do, and a feedback about what actually citizen wants from us. So this two-way communication has developed very well, and it is not just the CM helpline that I would like to say, but even the departmental helplines are definitely coming up in the similar fashion. So given the 22 crores of a population that we have, and the enabling situation that we have, that is why I would like to share on this platform a very good initiative that we are going to take up. Each and every student in undergraduate, postgraduate, or doctorate, whatever course they may be, in the academic year 21-22, irrelevant of their economic condition or any other condition, they are going to have a tablet or a smartphone. This year we are going to start with that. So that is very ambitious project. We are going to have a MDM management about policies, about employment generation, about government initiatives, and of course about the learning material. We are going to try to have some CSR initiatives with some of the very good big ones in the industries who are coming up with their own CSR initiatives. They want to integrate with our platform to make digitally enabled. So in this scenario of the last 2 years, where students were really very stressed upon to seek education, so in that scenario, I would say that this is an ambitious project that we are going to take, and let us hope and wish that we get success in it. And the implementation part, of course, it is tough, but yes, we'll try. We are trying very hard on that. So to sum up, we are trying to have a digital platform, we are trying to have initiatives, and we are trying to enable the youngsters of Uttar Pradesh on this issue. Thank you.
A wonderful project, wonderful thought about it, because together and have been sharing our learnings and experiences with each other, so that there could be a common growth. So it's quite encouraging. Also gives me an idea that why not, I bring together our delegation of domain experts, and I lead it, and I come and sit with you and your team and try and understand what all you are doing. Probably capture all these finer details and into our study of the well-performing departments, particularly on the we have done with Mr. Vidyasagar. I mean, I've had an opportunity. It encourages me to visit Lucknow sometime. I'll coordinate with you on Monday, maybe the week after that. So
of course, you're most welcome. It will be really nice to host you in Lucknow.
So, Mr. Vidyasagar, over to you. Your concluding comments and learning.
Sure. I would say this. This is fairly common in private world, not so much in the government world. What we are trying to do is work ourselves out of a job. So what our Honorable Chief Minister Garu has been saying is, if the government services are working like they should, like they're designed to, there should not be grievances. So our goal is to reduce the number of grievances, reduce the number of calls we get, reduce the number of complaints that we receive that need to be redressed. So as the institution of village and ward secretariats becomes more and more effective and mature, and citizen services are delivered within SLAs, there should not be a reason for citizens to call. Of course, it will never go down to zero. Nothing is going to be 100% perfect. So we do anticipate that there will always be a grievance redressal system that's necessary. But at the same time, the number of calls coming in should be lower every month compared to the previous month. And that actually has been happening. There was definitely a large volume during the initial months of COVID. Again, we understand the call volume. We also look into the type of calls. Many of the calls are inquiries. Right now, I would say from about what used to be 90% inquiries and 10% grievances to we are almost down to like 3 or 4% grievances. So already the percentage of grievances within the calls have reduced, and the call volume reduces, but it's also cyclical. When there is a new benefit scheme or some new initiative coming up, call volume increases. So it's not a steady state constant thing, and we adapt accordingly. And one of the things I wanted to mention, since we were limited to the topic at hand, didn't get an opportunity earlier, but as we know, there are a lot of, and you alluded to this earlier, out of a $5 trillion economy, digital economy is going to be about $1 trillion, which is true right now. About 20% of our entire GDP is dependent on IT. People do not realize that. People think of IT as this fancy thing that only some big cities seem to be doing, and we need to adopt it. But there is a lot of dependency on IT. There's a lot of contribution by IT to the GDP. And Telugu-speaking people make up a disproportionately large number of IT workers, which is fortunate for us. And a lot of them, over some numbers, some estimates put this thing at over 2.5 lakhs, almost 3 lakhs people of AP origin were working outside. They came back to AP to work from home because of COVID. And now that they're used to working from home, living with their families, living near their hometowns, away from the congestion, traffic, and high cost of living of the cities, they seem to like it. At least many of them do. And with the lowering of COVID-related restrictions, employers want to bring them back. And some of these employees do not want to go back, but there are challenges to working from home, right? Bandwidth connectivity may be an issue, uninterrupted power may be an issue, and quiet workspace may be an issue. So government is doing something about that called Work from Your Hometown initiative. So right now from AP in smaller towns, tier 2 and tier 3 towns, we are establishing working spaces, offices, satellite offices, where employers can reserve any number of seats. Individual employees, they can be private employees or entrepreneurs, they can reserve one seat for them so they can go work. So work from hometowns to address the problems of working from home. Yep. And this initiative is going to go to village level, where because of fiber connectivity in the next few months, we're expected to get fiber to over 4,000 villages. And this will continue over the next 2.5 years to bring fiber to all the villages in AP. So imagine what happens if you got fiber connectivity to all your villages. Right now it is at mandal level. There are about over 600 mandals which have fiber connectivity. Bringing that to over 12,000 villages is going to make sure that there's no gap, there's no the digital divide or whatever fancy terms you want to call that. All the IT world is going to come to the doorstep of every citizen across the state. And then work from anywhere is going to be a reality within the short time. Over to you.
Excellent, excellent. Let me briefly invite Mr. Sohan.
Yeah, just quickly, as I earlier told that as part of the Mo Sarkar, right, senior government officers take the feedback from the citizen directly. And we definitely, a system has been developed as Mo Sarkar platform where senior officer discuss with or take the feedback from the citizen based on the various services provided by the government. So that's one direct feedback which we take, and we have this is built on AI platform where a sentiment analysis also is done. So that's what we as part of the grievance management system.
Well, this is quite an interesting discussion. You know, I wish we had more time to understand more, because the more I'm listening, the more I'm getting curious as what's happening at the state level. But yes, over a period of time, we would like to actually, as I said, maybe send our research team across to try and understand as what's happening there, and we'll seek your help. So with this, I extend my heartfelt thanks to all the panelists, gentlemen, Mr. Vidyasagar, Mr. Sohan Nautiyal, Mr. Kumar Vineet, and Mr. Sanjay Kumar Das for sharing your vision with us, sharing your thoughts with us, and also with your encouraging words about the work that the SKOCH has been doing in providing all these best practices, a common platform wherein there could be a learning and sharing experience and cross-pollination of ideas. Well, thank you very much.